Did you know that 13% of student loan borrowers don't even consider student loans to be debt? Plus, there are whole forums on Reddit devoted to student loan defaulting on purpose. Well, if that didn't surprise you, it probably also doesn't surprise you that 13% of all student loans are in default. That means people are not paying their student loans. That works out to 7 million student loans that are behind, an average of $14,000 each. So what happens if you don't pay your student loans? Well, honestly, not paying your student loans is one of the worst financial moves that you could ever make. And while you won't go to debtor prison, you'll likely find yourself in an emotional and financial prison. In this video, we're gonna break down the process of what happens if you don't pay your student loans. Hey everyone, this is Andy with The College Investor, investing and personal finance for millennials. If you're new to the channel and like what you hear, please hit subscribe so you're ready when our next video comes out. Thanks. Okay, what happens when you stop paying your student loans? Well, your loan technically goes into default after not making a payment on the loan for 270 days. For a typical loan, you have a billing date and then a 28-day grace period to make the payment, which is the real due date. For example, if your billing date is January 31st, you have until February 27th to make payment on your monthly payment in full. If you don't make your payment, your loan goes into delinquency status. This also happens if you don't make a full payment. Once you are delinquent on your loan, your lender will attempt to contact you multiple times. You'll typically get a 30 days past due reminder, a 60 days past due reminder, and a 90 days past due reminder. You'll also likely get several phone calls from your lender as well to check in and see if you plan on making payment. Even if you make partial payments, until you bring your total student loan account back into balance, you're still considered in delinquency. After 90 days of being late on your payment, your lender will typically report the delinquency to the credit bureaus and give you a final reminder to make payment. After 270 days of not making a payment, your loan is in default. At this point, it will typically be transferred to one of the many student loan collection agencies. If you still don't pay, your school, the financial institution that made or owns your loans, your loan guarantor, and the federal government can all take action to recover the money you owe for your student loan debt. Well, what are the consequences of defaulting on your student loan? If you default on your student loan, the consequences, they're not good. Beyond ruining your credit score, there are a lot of ways that your lender will try to collect the money. If you are in default, here's what will happen. The entire loan balance and any accrued interest immediately becomes due and payable. You lose eligibility for certain programs like student loan forgiveness, forbearance, deferment, and changing repayment plans. You lose eligibility for additional financial aid. Your loan will be reported to the credit bureaus as being in default, and it'll hurt your credit score. You can be subjected to wage garnishment to repay the debt. If you're a federal employee, you could be subject to up to 15% garnishment due to the federal salary offset. Also, your lender could take legal action against you, and your lender could place a lien on any property you own. You could have your tax return even garnished as well. You could have your Social Security and other federal payments garnished as well. Yes, you heard that right. Even your Social Security that you get in your 60s and your 70s, that can be garnished. With all of these, your student loan debt could end up costing you a job, it could cost you a place to live, and so much more. There are better options if you can't pay. Let's go over them. If you're having trouble paying your student loans, you should immediately contact your lender. There are a lot of options that could help you, all of which are better than just not paying your student loans. First, you should look at changing your repayment plan to something more affordable. You could switch to IBR, which is income-based repayment, or PAYE, which is pay as you earn, which are income-based plans that could put your payment at $0 if you qualify. Second, if you're having a temporary hardship, you could ask to have your loans put in deferment or forbearance. This will give you a little time to regroup without having to make payments. Remember, interest is still going to accrue, but you won't be required to make payments at that time. Finally, check to see if you qualify for any type of student loan forgiveness program. If you don't qualify for a traditional traditional student loan forgiveness program, you could switch repayment plans to one that includes student loan forgiveness. With federal student loans, there's rarely a reason why you should default. If you can't pay your student loans, there are options to help you. Private loans are a little trickier, but even then, there are options. Here's a quick reminder about your student loan debt. It's important to remember that even if you don't pay your student loans, the government or your lender will always get their money for your loan. That's because they can garnish your wages and taxes to make sure they get paid back. According to the 2013 Department of Education budget, after the federal government pays collections agencies to recover the loan, the government is likely to recover about 96% of what the borrower owes. So even if you don't pay your loan back, the government, after paying a collection agency, still gets back 96% of what they were owed. You cannot escape your student loans, and not paying them is not the answer. If you're not quite sure where to start or what to do, consider hiring a CFA to help you with your student loans. We recommend the Student Loan Planner to help you put together a solid financial plan for your student loan debt. We'll put a link to the Student Loan Planner in our description, and you can check them out to see if they can help with your situation. What do you think about not paying your student loans? Have you ever considered ditching them and just seeing what happens? What steps have you taken to eventually become student debt free? Please let us know in the comments below. This is Andy from The College Investor, and we'll see you in the next video.